Hi ladies, welcome back to my channel. So today I want to talk to you about how you can reclaim everything that was taken from you. And when I say taken, I mean more in a spiritual sense, in terms of maybe your birthright, maybe you've experienced a lot of delay, a lot of setbacks, and you feel like even though you've done everything right, even though you've worked hard, you've persevered, and you should be further along in life, you're not as far ahead as your peers. And a lot of times this is for a reason. Now, this is going to come from a spiritual standpoint. So if you're not into that, you can go ahead and click off this video. It may not make any sense to you. But for those of you who believe in spirituality, I come from a Christian background, but I also I really believe in the spiritual aspect of life, including what I've learned from the Christian worldview. And I think that that applies and is more relevant to life than the actual religious institution of any religion, honestly. I think it's very important, and I do believe that God will speak to you and tell you things that you need to know for your survival. You just have to know how to interpret it. And in this video, I'm going to tell you how to interpret things and how to reclaim things that you may have lost from your past or things that you did not receive that are owing to you, so that you can continue to walk in the fullness of where you need to be walking. I always talk about social strategy, leveling up, what have you. And a big component of that is addressing the spiritual aspect. And spiritual aspect, it doesn't even need to go as deep as the heebie-jeebie as we know it, crystals, whatever. It doesn't need to go that deep. The spiritual component of your life and just reality can be as simple as dreams. And your dreams can often signal what is going on in your life subconsciously that you've either repressed or you're either not made aware of, but it's happening around you and you just don't have the capacity, the mental fortitude, the whatever to realize it in your conscious. And so your body, your mind, everything that you absorb kind of stores it and interprets it through symbolism in dreams. And then once you become conscious to what was hidden in the subconscious, then you'll start to notice that things will connect and make sense, right? And even psychologists point to that and say that your dreams will often replicate or play out what we've suppressed, what we haven't been consciously aware of, whatever. And so I'll expound upon that later. But I remember years ago, I had a dream that I was on an airplane with a group of people that I knew. And I was close to these people. And we were getting ready to go somewhere, obviously, on the airplane. But I noticed that the plane wasn't taking off. Like we would taxi and taxi. So taxiing is when like the airplane drives from, what do you call it? Like the docking station to the runway so that the plane can take off. The plane would taxi and taxi and taxi to the point that I ended up in my hometown on the plane. So the plane was driving on the roads, driving on the freeways, whatever. And I said to people, I'm like, yo, do you notice that like we haven't taken off yet? We're actually back in our hometown. And I live about just under half an hour the airport. So it's a pretty significant distance. And I had noticed, and I'm seeing these places where I'm like, wait a second, instead of us like taxiing for like 5 minutes or however long it takes for a plane to typically taxi, and then it, takes off, the plane somehow has made its way off the runway and onto the busy city streets. And I'm calling this to the attention of the people that I'm traveling with, and no one is hearing me. Nobody's paying attention. They're all deeply engaged in conversation and just laughing and having a good time. And I'm like, guys, like, isn't this odd? Like, can you imagine driving on the road and you see an airplane just driving like it's nothing, driving like it's a car? Yeah, that would be weird. Like that's out of the ordinary. And so at one point I'm just like, okay, like we're not getting anywhere. As a matter of fact, it looked like we were just taxiing in circles. The people who I'm with are not really paying attention, so it looks like I'm on my own. And I said to the pilot, I'm like, yo, can you just let me off and I'll figure out how I need to get to wherever I need to get to. And when I woke up, I realized that dream meant that so long as I was in the company of those people that I was close with, I would never get to my destination. I would never take off in life. I realized that dream was telling me that I was connected to a group of people that were going nowhere, and that we're okay with going nowhere. And so long as I stayed with those people, I would also be going nowhere. And it was important for me to know this because obviously in the dream, I wanted to get to my destination. And I was concerned and like, yo, guys, like, don't you see what's happening here? Like, we're not taking off, we're not getting anywhere. Like, this is abnormal. Not only are we not getting to where we need to go, but this airplane is functioning in a capacity that it is not meant to. It's not being used appropriately. This machine that is meant for fast and efficient air travel is being used as if it's like a regular automobile. Like this is odd behavior. And so at that point, that's what really helped me with my level up journey to realize and to really drive the point home that so long as you are connected to the wrong environment, the wrong people, you will never get anywhere. And at that point, I kind of knew that. Like I thought it was pretty obvious. Like I was kind of on the side doing my own thing, getting my education, getting my money up, everything. So I thought I was doing well. Like I thought I was doing well in life and I was achieving all that I needed to achieve. But obviously, my subconscious and God was telling me, no, babes, like it's good that you're starting off on the right foot, but you are not operating at the capacity that you need to be operating at because you are connected to people who are going nowhere. And that's okay if they are okay with not going anywhere in life. We all want and desire different things in life, and that is okay. For you and what you are looking to achieve in your life, it is imperative that you disconnect from these people. You can love them from a distance. You either need to get connected with people who are going to the same destination as you and are using the same vehicle, means of transportation to do that, or you have to be willing to walk this road alone until if and when you get connected with that group of people. And that also signaled to me that I was operating at a place in life where I wasn't able to see that I was not at my full potential because things were taken from me spiritually. And it's not to blame anybody, but I was in an environment that should have taught me boundaries, that should have taught me how to pursue a career properly, how to have healthy relationships. And because I didn't have that, I was kind of operating not at my full capacity. And as a result, I was further behind than my peers. And so for me, it was not only important for me to detach from these groups, but it was also important for me to learn how to reclaim everything that was taken from me or everything that was not given to me that was mine, that was my spiritual birthright, so to speak, so that I could operate at my full capacity and live life at my full potential. And so the number one way that I did that, number one, was through affirmations and prayers. If I wanted something, I would constantly tell myself, I am deserving of this. I belong to this. This is mine. Money comes to me easily and quickly. I am beautiful. I connect with people who have my greatest good in mind, people who will help me and not harm me. I retract and repel haters or whatever. And I would constantly connect to that type of energy, if you will, so that I could attract it. And it may sound like bullshit, like, oh, it's not that simple, but it really is. It's really a meditation that you are telling yourself when you choose to connect with the right source or when you choose to connect with the wrong source. Think back to your life when, things may not have been going well for you. And the moment that things turned around for you was when you decided to make a change in some area or another. I also noticed that I was experiencing a lot of delays in certain things. So while my peers were able to achieve and get certain things by a certain age, I wasn't getting that. And I noticed that trend and that pattern. Some people just say, it is what it is. Some people say that it's a spiritual thing. And so I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to leave any stone unturned while I'm doing the literal work to make these things happen for me. I want to get some supernatural help, if you will. And so I started listening to prayers that was specifically any generational stronghold that was keeping me back from transforming. And let me tell you, when I started doing these things, I started to notice at first a lot of pushback in a lot of areas where it's almost like there was an increase in jealousy in a lot of places at work, in my personal life. And I'm just like, okay, there's something shifting in the spiritual realm for this to happen? But after I rode the storm and overcame it, I noticed that things started to align. Things started to come to me quickly and easily. And so I realized that not only were the affirmations helping to change the way that I thought about myself and my mindset, but the prayers were somehow working supernaturally to help shift and fix things. And with this also comes the importance of boundaries because people will try to pull you back into your former state, especially if you were a people pleaser, you were a pick me, if you were like the firstborn daughter in the family and you kind of played that secondary parent, tertiary parent role that was not your role to pick up. People are not going to just let you go like that. They want to still benefit from you the way that they were in the past. And when they realize that they're no longer able to have access to what they got so easily and quickly in the past, they're going to panic. Because people who like to abuse boundaries, people who like to thrust responsibilities onto others, they will never take control of their life and say, how can I make things better for myself and empower myself to reach the next level in life? Because they realize that no one is responsible for their success but themselves. And so because people have that mentality, they are going to want to try to pull you back. Whether it's trying to inflict fear, telling you like, oh, it's not going to work out with that guy, he's just playing with you, or what are you doing moving to that new city? Like, don't you know they don't like our kind? It's not going to work out for you. Or why would you ever look to pursue a career in that field? Like, no one from our family has ever done that. Or in a lot of cultures, it's what are people going to say? What will people think? Number one way that I do this is I withhold information. If you don't need to know, I don't tell you. It's not your business to know. And whoever wants to get upset about that can get upset. And usually when they get upset, it really shows their intention. It shows that they are losing control and they don't like it. They don't like the fact that they cannot control you. And that goes to show and confirm for you that this person didn't actually value you for who you are, but they value you for what you do for them, and now they're losing access to that. And this is easier said than done. There are going to be many times, especially when you are transitioning in life, it's going to be very lonely at the beginning. People are not going to understand what you're doing, which is why I don't tell people my business. I just do it. But it's okay if they don't understand. It's okay if they don't agree. This is your journey. It's not for them to know. It's not for them to understand. And God will often put you in connection with people who need to get you to the next level. Whether that's a mentor, whether that's a manager, friends, neighbors, whatever, God will align you with whoever you need to be aligned with. You just need to keep an open mind and not try to control what that looks like or who that looks like. I also reclaim everything that is meant for me by living like I own it. Start living like you own it. So that means dressing like your dream girl. So envision the type of woman that you would want to be, the ideal woman. What does the ideal woman look like to you? How does she dress? Start dressing like that. Go onto Pinterest and see, for example, I kind of like the corporate baddie aesthetic. So when I'm in the office, my fashion inspiration is Jessica Pearson. So I have a board specifically for office wear, but my main inspiration is Jessica Pearson. So not only do I pin looks that Jessica Pearson has worn in suits, but when I start pinning those pins, the algorithm starts to recommend similar looks based on my likes and my interests. Or outside of work, I want to look like an actual baddie outside of work. So for me, that is Jodie Taylor's aesthetic. She wears a lot of strapless dresses. She wears a lot of form-fitting outfits that show off her amazing physique. And I do the same. She often shares a lot of where she gets her items from. And so for me, like I'm constantly getting, like, for example, the Aritzia contour dress. That is what I wear. That's my uniform in the summer. Like I just rotate through the different colors during the summer that matches my color palette, and boom. Like if it's just like a casual day, that's what I'll wear. So the type of hobbies, the type of skills, the type of people that she would hang out with, start to copy that. Interact with the people that she'd interact with. So if she's a corporate baddie or she's in high society, get a membership at a private club, get a membership at a country club, go and play golf, go and play tennis, pursue the type of career that she has. And I'm not saying like, go and just copy a girl, but just for the sake of copying because you think that her life is perfect and you have no idea what to do with yours. If you are genuinely interested in, say, law and you're looking for inspiration, then obviously do this in mind of someone who is a lawyer and who is living that lifestyle. do what she follow her path so that you can achieve the same or similar results. I also cancel rituals or things that I've noticed that have been a part of maybe my bloodline, my family, my friend group, for not even so much friends. You're not divinely connected with friends. If you notice that there's some sort of dysfunction that maybe your mom or your dad or your great granduncle, whoever kind of did, and you notice that multiple people are going through that same dysfunction, then it's very important, similar to your affirmations and prayers, but it's very important that you cancel these rituals, cancel these strongholds by rejecting them and not just blindly accepting them. So, for example, if you notice that like people in your family are the underdogs, people feel like they can play them and laugh at them and, oh, it's okay, so and so is so nice and sweet, like she won't take offense to that. That may look like having the courage to not laugh when people make fun of you, having the courage to either block that person if you're not the confrontational type, or you can be like, well, what do you mean by that? Or make things so awkward or say something right back that the person knows that they can't fuck with you. That also means not returning to places where you've been disrespected, not returning to places that have caused you discomfort or harm. And when I say discomfort, I'm not even talking about the kind that you know is going to grow you and make you into a better person. I'm talking about those places where your mental health is being impacted because it's dysfunctional. And lastly, I'll leave you with this. It is not going to be easy to break generational curses. It's not going to be easy to reclaim things that were either withheld from you or taken from you. As you go along and you discover new things and you reclaim new things and you start to undo things and strongholds, you're not even going to recognize or even remember some of the mentalities that you have until maybe you had a journal or you just have a flashback of how you used to be and be like, whoa, like I can't believe I used to think like that, or I can't believe I used to behave like that. And you're going to be so glad that you did the work that many people are not willing to do, or many people just don't have the strength to do to have a better life. You may be called selfish, you may be called weird, you may be called dramatic, you may be lonely, but it is much better to live a life that is fulfilling for you and where you are fulfilling the purpose that God placed in your life than to live for others, especially if those people don't even know where they're going themselves. It's the blind leading the blind, and they just want you to be blind with them. Don't do it. Detach, and your life is going to be so much better a year from now. Anyway, that's what I have to say about the topic. Let me know what you think down below in the comments, and I will see you in the next video.